Hello everyone and welcome back to another daily Geometry Dash guide, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use every trigger in Geometry Dash. This is only part 1 as there are just so many triggers, so many different pages of triggers, that this video would be 5 hours long. So I'm going to be splitting this into multiple parts, and today we're just going to be going over everything that's in page 1 of the triggers menu. So let's just open up the level. Right here I have the level, and we'll be starting off with all of these triggers. So, number 1, we have the start position, which just allows you to control the position of the level while starting. So I can just move this anywhere, and get it to start anywhere. I can change it to be any speed, any game mode, I can set it to reset the camera, I can change the options with it. Really cool stuff. Like I can just make myself go in reverse immediately and immediately reach the end of the level, but I can do it. Next, we have the color trigger. I'm actually going to be placing down an object. In this case, which is going to be the basic cube, which is just what I'm going to be using for most of these. So the color trigger, what I can do with it is I can go to this plus, for example, and go to object. Now I can change the color of this object from red to white, which allows me to just change the color of basically anything in the level. For example, if I have the background be this, and then I go to edit object, if I go to this object, I edit the object, I go to light background. What it's basically going to do is it's going to mimic the color of the background. So if I go to the background and I set it to be like red or something, there's going to be a lighter color than the background. That's pretty cool. So you can do a bunch of stuff with it. So next, we're moving on to the move trigger. We're just going to place down a block here with a group ID of 1. And this one, we will give a target group ID of 1. Which basically just allows us to move this block around. So for example, if I have it right here, then I make it move up 37, like that, 37, there we go. I can do some weird stuff. You can just move the block around, you can change the easing. And there's some cool gameplay you can make with this kind of stuff. So yeah. That's the move trigger. So next up we have the stop trigger right here. So what this does, it requires another trigger to be placed. Let me just make another move trigger. 37 again. Boom, get this a group ID of 1, there we go. Basically what we can see right here is right now it does something. But if I change the stop trigger to be the target ID of 1, what it will do is nothing, because the trigger also needs to be on the same group. So if I do target ID of 2, then I go to the move trigger and give it a group ID of 2, it will still do nothing, because this actually needs to be after the trigger is already active. So as you can see right here, we see it stops immediately after starting. So all it does is make an obstacle. So yeah, that's how the pause trigger works, or the stop trigger. You can set it to stop, to pause, you can change a bunch of stuff with it. Now we have the pulse trigger. I'll be using just a red object again. I'm going to be giving it a group ID of 1 once again. I'll be going over to the pulse trigger itself, and I'll give it a fade in of 0.10, a hold of 0.4, and a fade out of 0.2, and I'll pulse it from red to yellow. Channel ID here, we're just going to set old object right there. Boom, it's gonna flash yellow. So yeah, what you can do with this is very simple. You can do a bunch of stuff, like I can just set it to be green now, so I can flash it between different colors. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that's how the pulse trigger works in Geometry Dash. So now, moving on to the next trigger, we have the alpha trigger, which when I select the group ID of 1, I can make the object disappear and also reappear by setting it to 1. There we go. That's how that works. Now we have the toggle trigger. We just select the group ID, and what it basically does is it either deletes the group or, makes the group reappear. Copy paste here, activate group. Boom. There we go. As you can see, it disappears while I'm going through it, and appears when I'm behind it. So we just remove the toggle triggers and we move on to the next trigger, the spawn trigger. What this trigger does is it mostly just activates other triggers. So for example, if I had a move trigger set to 37, that targets group ID of 1 and moves it like that, right? And actually, would it be better for me to do this instead? There we go. So what this will do is it'll just move it forward and up slightly. And if I have the spawn trigger activate the move trigger, it goes to this one, a target group ID of 2, so that means I need to give the trigger itself a group ID of 2. Basically, what will happen is I can just have this thing completely off screen, and the movement will still happen because it's being activated by the spawn trigger instead. And if I give this allow multi-trigger, what will basically happen is this will continue moving, and then this one will also activate. So now it will move a total of 2 blocks. So yeah, that's how that trigger works. Moving on to the rotate trigger. So the rotate trigger, very simple. You just select your target group ID and your center group ID. It can even be the same one. And make it do, for example, 1/360 in 2.03 seconds, as you can see. It just does a 360. It also works if you take this, for example, make this the group ID of 2, go to the rotate trigger, and center the group ID on 2, you'll see it rotates fully around the group. So you can have some pretty cool stuff, like this thing could be underground and then it can swing up. It's pretty useful. Here's a pretty cool timing. It's a bit of a weird one, but you can do some interesting stuff with it. I'll be moving my block back up, I'll be deleting both of these, and I'm going to be moving on to the next trigger, which is the scale trigger. This one is painfully simple. You just select your target group ID, the center group ID once again, and for example, scale 2, there we go. It's now 2 times bigger than it's supposed to be. I can give it more time to actually become 2 times bigger if we can. That's how that works. Next trigger, we have the follow trigger. So what we can do now that we have set up all the groups, as you can see, that's nothing yet, obviously. What we need to do is we need to make something with like a move trigger on group 2, blah blah blah. There we go. And I'm gonna make like, I don't know, a yellow pad or whatever, group 2. And what's gonna happen is we're gonna jump using it, and this is gonna follow it. So if I make the move time a bit smaller so I can actually see it happening, as you can see, that's how that works. Next trigger, we have the shake trigger. This one we can't showcase in the same way. So for example, this one, I'm also going to give a photosensitive warning, but basically it does nothing, or at least it doesn't look like it does anything, because you need to actually enter the level, and what it does is it just makes the whole level shake. So yeah, that is part 1 of how to use every single trigger in Geometry Dash 2.074. If you want to see more informative videos just like this one, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!